Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. And welcome to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic, your host. And as you know, I love to have people on the show who have a connection to safety. And on the line, I have DJ Neustadt from the Northbrook Sign-a-rama shop. I've been doing business with him. He's gotten my expo tables all set up. Brilliant guy. And DJ, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Can you tell our listeners, what is your personal origin story and how did you get to where you are today? How did you end up deciding to open a Sign-a-rama?
I guess we could say it started basically when I was young. I mean, I was always very interested in art. I was always drawing. I remember during Thanksgiving, my cousin Lois, she would buy us presents, for the holiday, and she would always get art supplies and things of that nature, and that's pretty much how we would spend our Thanksgiving. We would just be, making art. And so going off of that, in high school, that was kind of my first exposure to graphic design. So my personal background, I guess as a whole, is more graphic design, so just in different medias. And so in high school, I took graphic design courses. That was my first exposure to graphic design as a whole. And then, so in college, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. So eventually I found out after taking a lot of various courses like astronomy, health classes, and whatnot, I realized that the art classes that I was taking were the things that I enjoyed the most. And so I started taking more graphic design classes and eventually dedicated myself to the graphic design degree and graduated in 2019. And from there, shortly after I graduated, COVID hit, so it was very difficult to find a job at the time. But I knew somebody's son that I had grown up with since I was very little. He gave me an opportunity. It was at a Fast Signs, one of our competitors now, and he took me on. I kind of got a feel for the graphic design field, even though I wasn't doing design directly, but I also got exposure to the sign industry. And so I wasn't able to work there for very long just because of COVID. And then I worked for another Fast Signs. And from there, my family stumbled upon this opportunity. This Sign-a-rama was being sold. And so we took the opportunity and purchased it. And here we are today.
That is absolutely fantastic. And so you graduated from high school in 2019?
From college.
Oh, from
University
college.
of Iowa.
Okay, cool. So you're a Hawkeye, right? Did I get that right? All right, cool. So when you say graphic design, everyone hears the word graphic design. That doesn't mean you're freehand painting something. You're using computer programs, correct?
Yeah. I'd say nowadays graphic design tends to be more digital than anything. I mean, we're living in a digital age currently, so that's just kind of the direction everything is moving towards.
Awesome. So you don't know this, but you and I have a professional connection. My father, and this is going to lead into it, my father was a design engineer, and it's kind of funny, you're in the printing business. He designed the first commercial photocopier back in the 1950s. His name's on the patent, so it was photographic technology. Now, like you said, it's digital. And his father, and I never met his father, his career was as a sign painter. So they didn't really have the types of printing in the 1930s and 20s. But he would go out and that was his job. He would paint signs. So just a little connection there that we didn't really talk about before. So let's talk about some of the signs that you can make, and what type of materials can you print on?
Well, I mean, just based on what you said, I just wanted to
Okay.
the painting signs. I mean, that was the old way of doing things. I mean, all signs that you used to see, I mean, they were done by hand in some fashion. And nowadays, you know, that's kind of the old school way, like I said. So now we're moving towards vinyl, and vinyl has been popular for a while now. But and more recently, we've gotten into like more digital print medias, and so now we can print directly to the films and in various different designs, whatever, you know, specifications you would need, and we can just apply it in various different applications.
Okay, very good. What can you print on? Like I saw on your website, there's I think it's a Chicago Fire Department cooler. Can you print on objects as opposed to just signs?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's different technologies when it comes to printing. I mean, I'm sure you've seen golf balls with the
Right.
printing all over. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, we can print directly to a lot of the substrates that we would normally just apply printed vinyl onto. So we can directly print onto like ACM, which is aluminum composite material. We can print onto a lot of different plastics, including acrylic. So there's a lot of different ways that we can, you know, get your branding put onto an object.
So if that object isn't flat or it's curved, how does the actual image and what you're printing on it adhere? Is it like a laser process, or what can you tell me about the process?
So, I mean, it really just depends on the application. I mean, we do have vinyls. There's a lot of high-end vinyls, a lot of the more expensive vinyls, which are cast vinyls. Those have conformability. So a lot of the times we'll just print a design onto, you know, just a vinyl, and then we'll wrap that object in that material. So for example, that the Chicago Fire Department cooler that we had wrapped, we just printed vinyl and then applied that to the cooler.
Like as a sticker?
Yeah, just as all the vinyls that we have, I should say most of them have an adhesive layer on the back, and those come in different strengths. Most of them are permanent. Some of them are more temporary or removable, and then some of them don't even have adhesive at all. So think like static cling.
Right.
That's the example I think of, or just paper products in general. The business cards, brochures, flyers.
Awesome. I didn't give you this question ahead of time, so I don't mean to stump you, but is the graphic design degree, is there an advertising component to it, like how to write ad, how to write copy, or are you just designing images and layouts and stuff like that and relying on the customer to give you the copy?
I mean, there's definitely an advertising component. I mean, I run most of the ads. You know, I create the graphics for them, and so I feel like, I mean, obviously there's somebody that's going to give a little bit of direction, and so in most cases it's going to be the customer telling you to, you know, do this and do that. But you do have to think about how that's going to translate into the actual print itself, and how, you know, in terms of visibility. You know, for example, for safety signage, you know, you want to make sure that you're following certain design guidelines, and I think that follows, you know, in order to successfully convey a message to the end user, you have to think about how you can use those criteria and manipulate them to create something that's engaging, that gets a certain message across, and, you know, that seems to be the most important thing. And so in terms of that, I think, you know, having an idea of how to advertise is definitely important, because if you don't know how to advertise, I feel like you don't really know how to create an impactful design.
Very good, very good. So I'm going to ask the question, but then I'm going to give you the meaning behind it before I ask you to answer it. What digital formats do you work with? In other words, I'm a small business. I got a logo. I only have it in PDF, JPEG, or whatever it happens to be in. Are you able to take that and then convert it into whatever file format you need for the printing apparatus?
Yeah, in most cases we can. I mean, we have two great designers, one of which is myself, and so we have a lot of capabilities when it comes to, you know, different file types that we receive. We can, but for example, if we receive a very low quality PNG, which is what's considered a raster image, meaning that it's made up of just a bunch of little pixels, little squares of color. So with those, that's not the ideal format for our printer, because our printer it'll always print the cleanest and the sharpest when we're using vector-based images, right, meaning it's made up of math formulas to make the different shapes and the different angles and whatnot. And so without that, we can't grab specific parts of each image and remove them or change the color. It's kind of more set in stone. I mean, there are programs that deal with raster images like Photoshop and whatnot, but it's just not something that is useful for our application for sign making. It's just a little bit less accurate, and like I said, it just doesn't print as cleanly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit, and I say that with a smile. I don't mean in a negative way. So you did say the word safety signage, and that's kind of the next topic. So have you ever printed no concealed carry signs that you can remember? I mean, I don't know. You have a million customers.
I can't recall off the top of my head. I mean, I'd love to print some for you if you ever need them. But
I'm the opposite of that. I'm not the no concealed carry. I'm the please concealed carry.
That's what I figured. But and I'm just looking at my neighbors right now. They just have a no gun sign just taped up to their window.
Right.
So I mean, it just seems like people need them. I just haven't done them personally, but there is definitely a need for them, especially when it comes to schools or
right,
just many public settings. Like if you go to like a Walmart or some sort of large department store,
right,
those will have them as well. Typically, a lot of buildings, housing will have them. I mean, it really just. I mean, there's definitely a need for them.
So, because you haven't done it, I'll just explain the reasoning behind my question. A lot of businesses that have that signage up have the incorrect sign. There's only one sign that was adopted by the state police, and anything else is not enforceable. So I didn't know if you had any knowledge of that or not. I mean, if you get an order, look me up. I'll give you that file. I mean, it's free.
We're always learning new things in the sign industry, so that's something I wasn't aware of, but now I know.
And that was my curiosity. Are sign companies aware of this? And I know that at my synagogue, the doors have the wrong sign on them, and I said something, and that's what the door company provided. So there's a lot of companies out there that don't exactly know the ins and outs of it. And that was just my curiosity. Is it because people don't know? Is it because sign people? I mean, you got to print what's ordered. So
exactly.
I mean, if someone orders the wrong sign, that could be intentional, because there could be a business that's like, well, you know something, I'm pro-gun, but I have a lot of anti-gun customers. Therefore, I'm going to put up the wrong sign, and that way I satisfy everybody. So that's a real thing. So here's another question I have. I didn't give you ahead of time. Do people really read signs?
I'd like to think they do, but I don't know. Some people just aren't as observant, but that's kind of why it's so important to have the understanding of the graphic design principles and understanding how to use them to your advantage. In terms of contrast, in terms of impact. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to make your sign more visible, and so that's always the end goal of ours. We want to make something. I mean, I want to say in most cases, people want something as visible as possible, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want something that's more subtle and more minimalistic. But in terms of people, I'd say there's definitely a lot of people that don't read signs. I mean, I like to think of traffic signs. People like to ignore
speed
those
limit signs.
Yep. So I don't know if it's so much a visibility issue as much as it is just people being human. But
right.
But yeah. But I'd like to think that people read signs more often than not.
I'm always looking for them because I don't want to do something dumb. Speaking of dumb, Have you heard, I think it's Jeff Foxworthy's Here's Your Sign bit?
No.
So I'll send it to you, but he's got a bit where he's like, I hate it when people ask stupid questions. I had signs made up that says I'm stupid. So it's like I'm out on the pier, I'm fishing, and someone comes up to me, looks in my bucket and says, you catch all them fish? Nope, they just gave up. Here's your sign. So he has all these silly examples. I'll send it to you. It's funny. I don't know if you can incorporate it into your business, but if you can, that would be great.
Definitely send it.
Other than hiring you to do a couple of table throws and table signage, I don't know the business. So what am I not asking you that would be important for people or small businesses to know about your business if they want to create signs? And what am I not asking you?
Well, I mean, we do a whole lot of different formats. I mean, in terms of installations and whatnot. So I mean, in terms of what you could ask, I mean, it would just be like, you could ask, what's the most crazy install experience that you've had, or what's the largest sign that you've made, that sort of thing. I mean, we've done some pretty crazy stuff, and I don't think people realize that a lot of the time. I think a lot of people hear sign shop and they think, maybe like a banner, or
Right.
they maybe some stickers, or a lot of that stuff. But we do building letters. I mean, there was a sign in Schaumburg that we recently put up. It was for a logistics company, and so we put a set of letters on the side of essentially the 9th floor of the building, which involved a 150-foot lift, which it didn't have to be 150 foot, but long story short, the first lift showed up with an issue, and so we ended up with a bigger lift. But it just goes to show that we have these capabilities that a lot of people don't realize. So we can put letters on a skyscraper if need be. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that we can do and that we're capable of doing.
I'm glad you said that because I wouldn't have even thought that. So I'm thrilled you said that. Hopefully you can get some business. So speaking of getting business, can you share your contact information, location, website, social media, how people can get a hold of you if they have business needs or questions?
We're always willing to talk. I mean, we have free estimates, so if anybody ever needs anything, we're always willing to help. And I mean, you could text our phone number or call our phone number. It's all linked to my cell phone. It's 847-239-5793, and you can always just go onto a search engine and search Sign-a-rama Northbrook. That's probably the easiest way to find us, just the Sign-a-rama in Northbrook, Illinois.
I will tell my listeners that you guys are so easy to deal with. Easy peasy. There's no issues. I had one issue on it was a tablecloth print, and something happened in the print process. As I'm looking at it, I think it was your dad's like, oh, we'll reprint it. Problem solved. Good. I didn't even have to do. I mean, it's just that's honest work. It's great. I absolutely love working, and I'll continue to work with you. Thank you.
That's great to hear.
Thank you, DJ, for appearing on the show. I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS2logic.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard my keynote speaking commercial. My next public event is going to be September 25th at the Deerfield Rotary meeting. I'll be presenting there on safety topics. And I love good customer service, which it's not that common these days. It's kind of like common sense. Common courtesy is not common. Common sense is not common. However, I had an amazing experience with Apt Electronics. And I've been a customer of Apt forever and ever and ever. As a matter of fact, they used to be on Dempster when I was a kid, where we bought our first gas grill. I was a little kid. Then it moved, that was in Morton Grove. It moved to a huge facility on Waukegan, and now they have just an enormous campus in Glenview. We've bought TVs, appliances. We've had repairs from them. They are unbelievable. And this one guy, Dave Grubbs, he really helped us. He came out. We had another company mess up our air conditioner unit. That's a different story for a different day. I'm still working on that with them. They had a technician come out, not Apt, this other company, and to do a maintenance. He burned out our capacitor. A second technician came out, and he burned out the capacitor and the compressor. Another technician came out and said, "Ooh, we screwed up." And then their answer to take care of us was to quote us over $20,000 for replacement furnace, which we did not need, and air conditioner unit. And we were like, forget that. So we ended up calling our home warranty company. They would not cover it because it was tampered with. And so we had to bite the bullet, so to speak. Haha, get that? Dad joke, Firearm Mentor. And so we contacted Apt because we've always had great service. And Dave came out, and he really, really took us through and explained the tonnage, the sear, the energy, all that great stuff. But we were without air conditioning for 2 weeks. It was brutal. Luckily, I have an air conditioning unit portable in my garage when I do classes there. So one of my kids slept at his other parents' house because our house was in the mid-80s. It was ridiculous. But I moved that air conditioning unit into our bedroom and had a fan, and that's basically where we lived for 10 days. It was during the latest heat spell. I was so disappointed in this company. But Apt came out to our rescue. Not only did the guy come out, he gave us an estimate, he gave us a fantastic price, and it was installed the next day. The technicians came out. They were equally as impressive in what they explained, how they did things. Just super, super nice people. And I want to give a shout out to Apt Electronics. They have anything electronic, from computers to appliances to whole kitchen remodels. It's really a great place. And if you go to Apt on Saturday mornings and you go look at their kitchen section, they produce most awesome, not as good as my wife's, but most awesome chocolate chip cookies. And they give them out. And I think they give out a drink too. I don't know what the drink is. But they have a candy store in there. They have high-end, low-end watches. Like, really, check them out. It is absolutely unbelievable. All right, I'm going to segue to a different topic. Throughout the last 11 years, I've been collecting questions that people ask in my concealed carry classes. And I've compiled a list of FAQs, or frequently asked questions, which is now up on my website. If you go to firearmmentor.com/classes and scroll to the bottom, this is a living and breathing section, meaning the next time I get a question that I can't answer, or I'm not sure of, or a lot of people want to know, it's going to be added to that list. So if anyone has frequently asked questions, visit us at firearmmentor.com/classes. And I also want to talk about some upcoming events. Our next concealed carry class is going to be on August 23rd and 24th in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. We'd love to have you there. And my favorite range is RMG Guns and Ammunition in Mundelein. And they have a free emergency preparation series. So as the world continues to get crazier, it's important to have the skills and items you need to keep your family and home safe. This 4-part class or discussion is going to help plan with emergency preparations. It's from 6:30 to 8. It's at 25687 Hillview Court, Building 5 in Mundelein. On September 5th, it is Emergency Preparedness at Home. September 12th, Home Security. September 19th is Emergency Bags, and September 26th is what you should have in your car kit. I know the instructor, Jess. She is phenomenal, really like-minded. I actually ask her for advice every once in a while, and she is going to be the speaker. Now, I also talked to her about the content of the courses, and she is so like-minded with me that I was just, wow, that was great. She's not talking about the zombie apocalypse or when aliens land. I don't mean aliens from other countries. I mean ETs. When they land and we're going to be Marines against aliens like in all the movies. No, she's talking about real life emergencies. What happens if there's a huge snowstorm? What happens if your power goes out? These are things that happen. As a matter of fact, my cable has gone out twice this week. That's not an emergency, but what are you going to do? Well, you got to switch to cellular mode for your cell phones, and that could impact entertainment or your children. And one of the things she and I discussed was in your emergency preparedness kit, just throw a deck of cards in. There's so many different games that you can play. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it is lightweight. So that's my emergency preparedness tip for the day, and that's just to keep everyone's minds active. When we return, we'll be talking about an interesting arrest that happened in Cook County very recently, as well as some other items involving protecting you. So please stay tuned. We'll be back after this. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.